Y'all know nothing about this. You need to pay attention. Sit back and relax. It's time for Goodall's Country Kitchen.
All right, we're here in downtown Hodgenville, birthplace of Abraham Lincoln, and Laha's Red Castle Hamburgers. Been serving since 1934, and we're going to show you a style today that not many of y'all seen before, what I refer to as old-timey diner cheeseburger. So before we get started, I want to introduce y'all to my latest sponsor. Listen up, Louisville. If you're tired of paying high prices for antiques and collectibles, you got to get out here to E-Town at 326 West Dixie Avenue at Buried Treasure Antique and Thrift Shop. They got all kind of collectibles, at least 1/4 the price cheaper than what you're going to pay in Louisville. And if that ain't good enough, all the profit from the proceeds goes to charity. Plus the gas is 80 cents a gallon cheaper out here, so you're going to make money just filling up your gas tank when you get out here. So as I said, get out here, 326 West Dixie Avenue, E-Town. You want to make some money? Come on out here, and y'all don't know nothing about this Buried Treasure Antique and Thrift Shop. Also, you're in store for a great treat today because this is a double bonus review. We're actually going to go across the square and we're going to finish and have dessert at the Sweet Shoppe, which is a well-known ice cream store. But anyway, Laha's has been nominated for local awards, statewide awards for their cheeseburgers, but they have a unique style, which I'll tell more about. You know, you have your styles of like a smash burger style, hub style, gourmet style. Well, this diner style cheeseburger is old school, historic, goes back to the Prohibition era and Depression. So anyway, we're going to cut it short here, go on in and see what we can get. A little insert clip real quick. I'm apologizing ahead of time for butchering up the name of Laha. I kept calling it Laha. It's Laha's Red Castle. And also, if you like my content, I want you to hit that subscribe button and notification bell. Quick little clip here before we get our food. You see the burgers are old school, fried on the griddle. They typically cook onions on them, but I got mine with raw onion. And the owner just told me that grill's been here since 1954, and the place opened in 1934, which was in the middle of the Depression, which I was kind of explaining about diner style burgers. Back in the Depression, you didn't see fat guys like me coming around getting burgers. So typically they were smaller than like you would go to a sports bar and get some big half-pound burger for a fat person like me. So this has stayed true to their roots, the old-fashioned diner style burger. And we'll be back in just a minute. And you also see it's a very limited menu, which I've told y'all before. I like you do a few things real good instead of a bunch of things mediocre. So you got burgers, chili dogs, hot dogs, and nuggets and chili and fries. So I'm going to pretty much order the whole menu besides the nuggets. So we'll be back in just a minute. Oh, and before I break away, Bill Perkins, I know you're one of the ones that recommended this place. I ordered one of your old-time drinks. I got myself a ski. Be right back. I'm going to start in on this chili. This is an old-time original recipe on the chili. And also something old school. Instead of spaghetti noodles, it's got macaroni noodles in it. Pasta. So I'm going to try this. It's tomatoey. It's got a lot of meat, but it's got that old-time thin kind of chili broth. There's also a story, which I hope to get the owner to tell y'all. But Colonel Sanders tried to bribe the owners out of giving up and selling him this chili recipe just to show you how special it is. All right, be back in a minute when the rest of stuff starts coming in, but this chili's good. Got some good chili beans in it. Be right back. Gonna go good on a chili dog. Here's another little unique thing. They cook with a brick trowel, which is...
cut the front of it off and square it up.
Isn't that unique? Old-timey, I'm sure. As I was saying, in 1934, you typically didn't have fat people going in ordering burgers. So they were smaller, but also goes along with smaller, they're cheaper. So you're not going to come in here and get some 8-ounce, 16-ounce fat burger like you would get at, say, Bambi Bar in Louisville, a pub burger. Just like I said, the old-fashioned diner burger. It's got patty, and I went old school with pickle and onion. Now, they say they're known for the cooked onion on it, which kind of is their trademark for their taste. So I went in and ordered one of them too. You know, which I got 3 burgers coming here total. My motto, too much is better to have to make sure you got enough. Here we go. That good griddle flavor. Plus it's smash burger. See the crust there? Steam grill. Keeps all the flavor in it. All right. Even though I ordered it old school with pickle, onion, mustard. Got to do the old ketchup dip.
Hello.
Howdy.
Did you have a call in?
No.
Is it going to be from here to go?
And also old school, crinkle cut fries.
Hardly here.
Hardly here.
All right. This has flavor that you're not going to find anywhere else. You got to come here to get it. Hey, Mary, what did you just tell me? Tell me from behind the camera what you just told me.
It was the best burger I've ever had.
And she meant it. All right, we'll be back. I got more coming. See you in a second. The owner just told me that this picture here is of their old shack, the original store, and President Eisenhower was there. And he was actually the last president to visit Hodgenville, he told me. So this place has a lot of history. You see original owners here. Old family photos. Were these the original owners up here?
This is my great-grandfather, and that's my great-grandmother. They're the ones that started it. These are my grandparents. They're the second generation. And this is my uncle down here. He was the third generation to own it. And now my wife and I are the fourth generation.
All right. Well, I hope to get a few words in with the owner here after we're done. And I'm sure he's got some interesting things.
Martin said I've ever seen.
Look down here. They serve the burgers on wax paper, which is also old school. And another thing, it keeps the food costs down, where they don't have to use a lot of paper goods and stuff. That way you get the cheap burgers, like a hamburger you get out here, $2.75. So I don't mind a bit ordering 3 burgers. But anyway, I got it. This is the old school way, with the onion cooked on the burger. Well, I got the cheese on that side. You can't really see it, but you see little bits of chopped onion that are actually cooked onto the patty. So here we go. We'll test it the way they do it old school style. That definitely adds to the flavor. So I'm sorry, if you don't like onion, you're just gonna have to try it anyway. Don't discount it until you at least try it. All right, be right back in a minute. Still got another item to go, which y'all probably already figured out what that's gonna be. All right, be back in a second. All right, last but not least, like I said, save the best for last. You know I love them chili dogs. Owner said that this is Coney style. It's kind of a runnier chili that they use. The cheese slice is on the bottom of the dog, and they actually soak the dogs in the chili before they serve it. And of course, it's got the raw onion chopped on top, so looks like a good bun. Here we go. Well, let me see. Good, real good. It's a good quality dog. Nice, good bun. And they're not stingy with that chopped onion either. It just sets it off perfect with that cheese. And I like the fact that the cheese is on the bottom, because when you bite in, all that shredded cheese doesn't go falling off everywhere. So it's put together well. Plenty of backbone in it. All right, I'm gonna finish this off. Oh, wait a minute. I gotta try it. You know, if they got hot sauce, I gotta try it with the hot sauce too. Put some Franks on there. And here we go. Take you 45, 50 minutes to get here from Louisville. You definitely got to make the drive, because not only is this place historic, 90 years old, you're not going to get burgers and chili dogs like you get out here. Write it down. All right, be back in a minute. Hope to talk to the owner, and then we'll wrap things up and head on to our next bonus review. Don't go away. We're going to do a little bonus review over here at the Sweet Shoppe, and be back in a minute. All right, I just wanted to show you real quick. He actually smashes the onions into the burger as they're cooking. It's kind of like a White Castle style, but of course White Castle can't hold these people. So, and then I told you about the hot dogs and the chili. It don't get no better than that, folks. All right, we got Ryan, the owner here, and I just want to ask you a couple questions. You mentioned that Colonel Sanders. Well, first, where did the name Laha's come from? How did that evolve?
It's Laha's Red Castle.
Oh, Laha's, I'm sorry.
And my great-grandmother, her favorite color was red. She wore red lipstick and red dresses, so that's where the red comes from. And if you know much about the history of White Castle, they started in 1928, I believe. And there was a lot of pop-ups kind of similar to White Castle after White Castle hit it big. And we think that that's where the castle comes from. So it was Red Castle.
Oh.
And then over the years, it just kind of evolved into Laha's Red Castle. That's our last name is Laha.
Okay.
So it just evolved into Laha's Red Castle.
Well, I'm sorry about the mispronunciation.
That's all right. We're used to it.
I'm real good at butchering names up.
Yeah.
But also, you mentioned about that Colonel Sanders story in the chili. Can you give me a quick version of how that all went down?
Yeah, so Colonel Sanders used to come in here, and he always ate the chili in here. And supposedly he tried to buy that chili recipe from my great-grandparents, and they wouldn't sell it to him because he wasn't going to let them sell any chili anymore. If you know much about him, he was a shrewd businessman. But my aunt can remember he would let her go out and play in his limousine while he was in here eating.
Oh, is that right?
It was kind of a big deal to her.
Well, cool. And lastly, I want to ask you, you were mentioning how much burger you sold a day. Can you tell me about that?
We average probably about 60 pounds a day, I'd say, which is somewhere between, they're about 2 ounces a piece, so you can do the math on that, we probably sell between 400 and 600 burgers a day.
So I see about maybe 6 stools in here.
We've got 10.
10 stools? Okay. That's a lot of burgers for a little diner like this, so they've got a thriving business going, serving a couple hundred people a day out of here. Yeah. All right. Well, I really appreciate your time. The burger was good, and I told y'all in Louisville, it's only about a 50-minute drive, less than an hour, and you can come out here and go to all the tourist attractions out here in Lincoln Birthplace, Lincoln Boy Home, museums, all that stuff. So don't be scared. Come on out and stick around because we're going to do a bonus review next door. All right. Thank you. All right. We moved on next door. Still here in the town square of Hodgenville at the Sweet Shoppe. From what I understand, this place has been here about 15 years, and they have won statewide awards for their homemade fudge. And of course, they have ice cream. So we're going to get some of both and check it out and be right back. As I was telling you, they got this award-winning fudge, and I was just thinking like chocolate fudge. But they've got a whole bunch of different kinds. Cookies and cream, turtle. It's unbelievable. They must have 25 or 30 different kinds of fudge here and homemade desserts. Look at all this. Homemade cookies. Oh yeah, this is a whole lot more than what I was expecting. And then different kinds of other cakes, cookies, and then of course the ice cream. So, oh yeah, and got the milkshakes and different kinds of waffle cones, sundaes. All right. And as I said, the fresh fudge. Even got a wave up here. Be right. And also, this is in a really old building here on the town square. You can see the brick. If I look at this building, I'd say it's probably in the tall ceilings. Look at the ornate woodwork on those ceilings. I'm sure this place was probably built as an old mercantile. Probably goes back 1850s, I'd say. They also sell like homemade apple butter, jellies and jams. And I think this is all locally produced. Well, I know that. Pickle, or Pop's Pickles, that comes from Louisville. And there's some of that old country sorghum. Let's see where that comes from. Sloan Fork Road, Liberty, Kentucky. That's Eastern Kentucky. So that's close enough. I'd still say it's local. All right. Be back in just a second when we get our dessert. Also want to point out they've got sugar-free options. This whole tray over here is all sugar-free. I see at least 5 different kinds of fudge there. Also, on top of the main dining room, they have a quaint little parlor in here with couches. You can sit here and chill out. And you notice Mary's got her little Coke bottle she got from Laha's. Take home as a souvenir. But talking about those awards, I wish you'd look at all these awards they've won over the years for their different award-winning fudge. All right. Be back in just a second. I'm going to start in on mine. So as I said, when you got award-winning fudge, I've got to get more than just one kind. And I showed you that sugar-free, and it's actually pretty heavy and rich. You know, fudge typically is very rich. So I'm going to start off with the sugar-free and then work my way up. I promise you, if you have this, if somebody gave this to you and didn't tell you it was sugar-free, there's no way you would know it was sugar-free. Of course, I got my nice, tall, cold glass of milk to go with it to wash all this richness down. All right, now I'm gonna go to the chess bar, which I got 2 different kinds. Mary got the chocolate, and I got the white chess bar. And I asked the lady what was in them, and she was describing, like, you know, cream cheese, this and that, describing different things. And she said basically it's just a big slice of gooey goodness. So that was enough for me. She sold me the gooey goodness. She had me at gooey goodness. Let's just put it that way. Look here. And then of course it's got that homemade, looks like a crust of some sort. Folks, this is it. You gotta get out of here. And that crust, that's not like a typical pie crust. I don't even know how to describe it. But this is so good. It kind of reminds me of like a buttermilk pie, like you would get at Mark's Feed Store Barbecue. That's what it's reminding me of, except for this has got cream cheese in it, where at Mark's the buttermilk pie is just basically butter and sugar. That's so good. Let me work on this a little bit. This is going to take me a minute, so we'll be right back. All right, so Mary took a bite off of that white chest bar, and she said it was dynamite and wants to get one to go. So what do you think of that? What's it taste like to you? I said buttermilk pie. What do you think, Mary?
I think it kind of tastes like a buttered kuka.
From Plains Bakery butter kuka, which is the absolute favorite thing that happened in Mary's life. She's actually getting a butter kuka this weekend for her birthday from Plains. But anyway, all right, I'm gonna try a couple of these other selections here. Be right back. A couple more items. I got the cookies and cream fudge. And let me tell you, this weighs like a gold brick. This is, I can already tell, very rich, very heavy. I'm gonna go ahead and get into the middle of this to make sure that I get plenty of the cookie in this. Heck, this right here, our normal human have a hard time getting this down. Now I see why they got all those plaques on the wall over there. This is the real deal. And they all those awards, those are actually in different categories too. That isn't all just fudge. Different kinds of desserts. All right, so I had that, and now I'm gonna try the chocolate chest pie, or chest bar. See here, it's got the crust, the chocolate gooiness in the middle, and the icing on top. I'm so glad I came to Hodgenville today. I might be going to visit Lincoln's birthplace more often now. All right. I'm gonna finish this, and then we're gonna be back with some final thoughts, and we're gonna hit the road. Be back in just a second. People lined up out, can't even get in there, and they're standing room only on the inside. People trying to get in there to order burgers. This is about 12:20 in the afternoon here. Tell me they're not doing some business. All right, so y'all probably thought I was gonna leave out of there and forgot to get the ice cream. Well, you're wrong. You know, a fat guy won't forget about the ice cream. Anyway, I got the homemade vanilla. So tasty, especially after eating all that rich fudge and the chest bars. And nice and creamy, homemade vanilla. All right, we'll be coming out here to Hodgenville sooner than later. I didn't even know about all the good food out here, especially those burgers. So don't be scared to make that 50-minute drive from Louisville and then kill two birds with one stone, see all the tourist attractions. And don't forget, stop by the Sweet Shoppe. And y'all don't know nothing about this Laha's Red Castle.
Now you know the facts of why I'm on a mission. You're always welcome back to Goodall's Country Kitchen.